Okay, all you dreamers, wannabe dreamers, want your dreams to come true. This podcast is for you. It's titled Dreams Do Come True. I was just at an event last night and I listened to artists accepting awards, and they were talking about their dreams coming true. They've been working on this for years, 20, 17. One man was 45. He went from coal miner to songwriting, won his first award. It's never too late to get started, and that's what I want this podcast to be about for you. To lift you up, give you encouragement, and know that your dreams are not dead. They're still there. If you have that inside of you, it's meant for you to do it. At whatever level it is, you have just got to take the first step. You can't just keep sitting on it. I know, I'm one of those dreamers, and we're going to make our dreams come true. So I'm excited about this podcast. I'm excited to get started, and I'm so excited that you're here.
So we have Kat Beach here. She has won not one, but 2 gold awards from the ISSA, Female Songwriter of the Year and Female Single of the Year. So excited for you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. It was one of those things that you go in and you're around so many awesome artists and producers, everybody in the industry, and you're just enjoying the process. And then all of a sudden, that's the icing on top of the cake. I've got to admit, I said, I'm just going to go in and enjoy this moment. And she said, you might want to prepare something. I said, no, let's just go and enjoy the moment. There are a lot of people from everywhere coming in all over the world. Let's just enjoy. And here's the humor nobody else would know. When I won the Female Songwriter of the Year, Beth looked at me. Her name is Beth Rattray. She goes, bet you wish you had prepared something now. And it was a humor. Nobody else knows those moments. It happens all the time, but it was humorous. So
funny.
Thank you very, very much. It was a real blessing.
Yeah, well, I'm so honored. I mean, I was so inspired. So that's why I wanted to put a platform together to showcase everybody's inspiring story. So tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got into music.
It's a sordid tale. It's a beautiful tale, but there have been a lot of pitfalls, and so I always try to be as honest as I can be with the whole tale, just in case somebody hears it, they understand all the bumps and bruises, but also the wonderful peaks that come along with it. So for those who are listening, who may have children in a theater school or acting school or musical theater, or those who are in musical theater, that's where I started. And my world was really all about musical theater. And then I went to school. I went to college at Boston University School for the Arts for classical theater. And I made a really huge turn back in the day, and that we'd gotten a grant award to go to BU, and it's a great school. It was just purely classical drama. And I had been so in love with musical theater for so long, and at the time was a soprano. During that time in college, you're in that headspace of whoever's going to take me, or I want to go the best. I'll do whatever it takes. And instead of saying I've got to do what my heart says, so I got into this one, and they gave me the grant award. So of course, at a young age, I thought, well, this is where I've got to go. And to go from a small school to a big university was a really massive experience for me. I went to it was a girls' school called Ethel Walker's. So there were about 23 of us in the graduating class. And then I went to this huge university because they saw something in my skill. But what I didn't follow is my musical theater side. So I gave up singing, even though that was my entire youth, singing, dancing, and acting. Interesting. And I want people to hear that, because if you're a young lady or a young man who has an option between two, follow what your heart says you should do. Don't follow the grant
totally
award.
with that. I agree totally. The heart speaks louder.
It really does. It really does. And I thought, no, this is great. They're paying me to go, so that means I'm good. Well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, about 2 years in, I thought I was going to be, it was very, very challenging. And again, a great school, a lot of great friends who went there and are doing really, really great. But I fell apart. I went about 2.5 years into it. I just couldn't handle the stressors of it. And quite frankly, I couldn't handle being away from what was really me, which was singing. And so I literally fell apart, and I left acting, and I went from being a performer at about 135 pounds to a little over 220 pounds. And
wow.
Left it all. And I walked
Mm.
away, and a lot of people went, well, what are you doing, Kat? You got the perfect moment. But the stressors of it all, when you're young, are tough to handle and tough to juggle. And so for people who are listening, please, if you're a mom or a dad, please, 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 I'm begging you to support your children in what they're supposed to be doing, not what you
Yes.
think they're supposed to be doing. Please, I'm begging you, because if you are asking them to be what you think they should be because you think you know better, please hear me when I say, if I had had everybody just supporting that endeavor forward and what everybody in the professional world saw in me, but the family was a different experience for me, there would have been a very different experience, a different trajectory. It wouldn't have had so many pitfalls. So long story short, I shouldn't bring that up, but that's very important to say, because I think there are a lot of parents that will listen to this, and it's scary to see your kids go into music. It's scary to see them go into anything in the performance world. But if they're blessed enough to have that incredible ability, then support it. So,
Yes.
anyways, so
I agree.
thank heavens, because Pamela, I'm sure you've seen a lot of people go through a lot of things. I've heard a lot too.
Yes, it's just the limiting beliefs of the family. And that is the one thing you can always count on is you. You have that passion inside and you know what you can do. But family just has that over you. I mean, I know because people have had to break free of those traditional limiting beliefs. And we're in the most prosperous times, in the best time of the world, of the United States. And people just need to really grasp what is in their heart and what their passion is, whatever it is, like you're saying, and just really support their children or their family. It could be a brother, sister. I mean, support them.
So true. And help them share it.
Yes.
And I say that because, again, we all believe that we think we know what's good for whomever else. And that's not always the case. Sometimes stepping out of the way and just saying, I'm going to support you in whatever role you do. But I will say that when I kind of fell from the moment, I went through a real twist and turn, and it was interesting. I did everything that I wasn't supposed to be doing by virtue of what my gifts were. It's funny, though. I will say this. I happened upon fitness because I also do seminar speaking for health and wellness, fitness, and panic disorder. So I happened upon one piece that kept me very healthy in a role, of course, in the musician world and performing world. It's very easy to get into addiction issues, which I will never, ever judge in a million years. And so fitness and health and wellness are a side of my life that have saved my life. And I will commonly tell people that. So I happened upon that, but also the toxic side of it as well. So here's where, and the reason I'm telling you all of this is because once I got into Miami and I started to get into bodybuilding, I took steroids. I was so into what we call body perfect. And coming out of this, I was trying to basically take care of myself, safeguard myself, and create armor around myself to not be hurt, because I was missing my singing. I was missing my performing, that I got into some things I shouldn't have. And no shame in my game. I talk about it with everyone, especially in my seminars, why to be very, very careful what you get into when you're young, because you may not know the final outcome. Long story short, as I said earlier, I was a soprano, and I was very much into Barbra Streisand and musical theater soprano roles. Well, when I made a decision to take steroids because I was chasing body perfection, I dropped my voice, and I had no idea. I didn't think about it. All I was thinking about is protecting me with armor. I thickened my vocal cords. And this is the big thing that not a lot of people know about. Once you thicken your vocal cords, it takes a whole lot to try to come back from that. And unfortunately, my head voice is soprano, but my actual spoken voice and me, when I sing stage with all of my music, it's alto. And so I had, this was a big moment, Pamela. It was, it was a moment where the doctor said to me, which was a great moment, he said, you should have done your research before you played. And it was a moment where I went, and he was right. And all I could think of to do was beg the Lord, please, please, I'm begging you, if you give me my voice back, I'll do the right thing with it. I can't tell you how many times I prayed that, and it didn't happen. It didn't happen. And then I decided to kind of get away from all of that world. what's a good way of putting this, Pamela? Take off the armor, right? It didn't have to be all about muscles and perfection. It had to be about just me being able to be sensitive and okay again.
Yeah.
And empathetic, compassionate, letting that out. When I did that, I went through severe panic disorder. So my body went through a massive change. And within that panic disorder, I found faith again. I commonly will do seminars on panic disorder because I'm very sensitive to what people go through. This is my way of saying in the darkness, you can sometimes find some incredible light. Just look for the light under the door,
Yes.
right? So I'm in this darkest part. I'm like, where's the light under the door? As I think it's Judith Owen wrote in one of her songs. I was begging for it, and I picked up my guitar. I found faith, and for the first time in ages, to try to stave off the panic and the anxiety. I went through 2 years of not being able to perform, not being able to do anything, not finding the music. It was very interesting. It was an interesting transition for me. Maybe the second time I went to church, I got saved. And strangely enough, I saw my guitar and I thought, I'm just going to play it. It was the wildest thing, Pamela. And that's where Love Me Out Loud, my first album, came out of. It was an amazing moment. It was a painful moment. It was a beautiful moment. All of it wrapped into one. Also learning the voice that is loved very much in our world is usually a soprano. That's what sells very well. So I had to learn to love my voice again, a different voice, and how to use it to make some change. So that Love Me Out Loud wasn't about, hey, let me get full of myself. It was really about learning to love myself as I am out loud again.
So powerful. You use music to get that love, introspection, to really reflect. You accepted yourself as you were.
Yeah, with all the flaws.
Very
and
powerful.
There were a gazillion of them. I laugh at it. I had a great friend, Tom Schaefer, who walked through this with me. He's a videographer and a photographer, and he's the one who helped me get back into just finding faith, something beyond me. And I would honestly, he has probably 7 years worth of videography of me just sitting with my guitar in the early days, just having it all flow out of me. And I went back to look at that stuff, and I can't even tell you how hard I cried.
Wow.
Because you see it all come out, and it was after church. For me, I needed that. It was important. It was important to let it go. I'm not sure if you know people who suffer from panic, or if you have, but it's a not so pretty place.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I know that's when you're going through that struggle and that type of trauma, it's hard to share, but people do need to hear how you overcame that, because that's going to give them strength. Well, she made it through that. I can make it through that. And I know I haven't had panic disorder, but just going through different struggles. And I've talked about this before there with, it might have been Junior Turner when I interviewed him, but we were talking about you get on a song and you just listen to that song over and over, and it just keeps giving you strength to get through whatever it is that you're going through. So it's really good for people to know that you have made it through that, and they're going to make it through it too.
Yeah, there is life after panic, because a lot of people think there's just not, and there really is. So.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about your single, Get After It, right?
Yes.
That's what you went for. I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Such a fun one. Myself, and I can't go through this whole experience with you without talking about Ned Albright.
Good.
Ned Albright is my songwriting partner and has been for years, Pamela, and I am tremendously grateful for him. So I will sit with him on many occasions, either out in Los Angeles, because that's where he's from, or he'll come here to Nashville, or at the time down in Miami when we wrote a lot of music. But Get After It that was the Los Angeles one. And we did Win, Get After It, and Go to Work. And we were discussing how can we do something that would really inspire people, and to kind of use a little bit my fitness world performance. That's my Pekingese in the background. Oh, yay! That's her voice. She also has an alto voice, just so you know.
Sweet.
You hear? Anyways, we wanted to inspire people with just getting after it, going to work, winning. We found that people were in a real dark space. This was a couple of years ago, and we wanted to help people maneuver forward. I said, well, maybe we'll do a whole health and wellness seminar series, and let's just write some music for it. And so I just emailed him a number of different hooks that I thought would work. a number of different things that I will say when I teach fitness classes. He sent something back to me, and then we Skyped. Then we relied upon Lee Sklar, Dean Parks, Herman Matthews on drums. So Dean Parks is a guitarist. For those who don't know him, he is a guitarist out in Los Angeles. Iconic guitarist. He has been on everything from Michael Jackson to Steely Dan, you name it, that's him. And he's just a scientist. Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you saw him, Pamela, I would love for you to see him in studio, because it's watching a scientist at work. Wow. Lee Sklar is a bass player. He started with James Taylor back in the day, and Fire and Rain was the first one. And matter of fact, is out on tour with Phil Collins right now on his final tour. And it's just probably the most awesome human being I have met in the industry, and kind friend. Herman Matthews is a drummer who just is a groove meister. He knows. He played on tour with Tom Jones, so you can imagine that, right?
Oh,
and, he's done a lot. He steps in for Tower of Power. But Tom Jones. And anytime I say Tom Jones, they're like, okay, we know. So it was Ned Albright who brought them all together for me for the original album. And so they got back together for Get After It, Go to Work and Win. And Shakir Boissini, and I never say his last name correctly, mixed it. What a great moment. We have Kim Yarbrough on it. Let's see, Gia Cambodi was on it. These are just really outstanding vocalists. When I say they outsing me any day of the week, they do, but they are blessings for me. And they came in and did harmony vocals for Get After It and Win. And it was so much fun. I just flew out to LA and we decided, you know what, let's just have a little fun. And we had a great time. It was a blessing. The reason I bring up those guys is not to, here's who I worked with. It was to say these guys are, again, scientists and artists. I'll come in with a thought and Ned will, and they just make so much out of it. I'm awestruck still. Regardless of me getting up on stage and performing, when you see what the guys do behind the scenes, to me, it is just floors me every time. Yeah. So Get After.
Yeah. I know. I'm going to download that. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to.
That's a fun one.
Because I just heard you say Get After It, but you said Go to Work and Win, right? It's the end of it?
Both of those. Yeah, they're three separate songs, Win, Go to Work, and Get After It, and they were a trilogy. But Win, I also had, during the days down in Miami, a little segue in my life, I got a broadcast journalism degree. It's not saying, it's just saying I decided to go in my ADHD mind and let's go over here to broadcast journalism. So I also worked for Fox. And during the time I worked for Fox, I met some incredible people, and one of which is Chris Crane. And he did, back in the day, a number of remixes for Madonna. I was doing some voiceover work for them, for Fox. Chris and I started to do music together, and he does incredible remixes. So I have asked him on several occasions. One of my songs is called Does This Groove Make My Butt Look Big? Don't laugh. And right? And that always
Love
easy. Forget the pants, forget the skirt, but does this groove make my butt look big? We can thank Lee Sklar for that. He's like, yeah, I've always wanted to write the song. I'm like, don't worry, I'm about to write it. But I asked him to do original remix to that, which is hysterical, because I said, I really want a Latin rapper. He said, I'm sorry, Kat. This was so funny. He said exactly that. I'm sorry, Kat. What do you mean? I said, I really want you to put a Latin rapper in this. I just feel that it would work. He goes, how do you feel that would work? And if you heard the original, it's a very bluesy song, and it's deep in the pocket. It has this kind of bluesy feel. I'm like, I don't know. You're the one who's going to make it work, Chris. But I want you to put a Latin rapper in it. Do you have Latin rapper? Because he's still down in Miami. And he said, I'll find one, Kat. So you got to go listen to it, Pamela, because when you hear the original and then you hear that one, you're going to go, whoa.
Okay. I'm definitely going to go find it.
It's worth it for everybody to go listen to, because it's going to make you laugh if it doesn't make you want to dance. The Win remix, I said, you know what? It was written for team spirit. It was written for, and it's like in the locker room. The whistle blows. It's game time. Yeah. We're ready. That's how the beginning of it starts. I said, so here we go, Chris. I want you to take Win. I'm going to send it. The guys in LA did this. I'm going to send it to you, and I want you to do, don't laugh, Pamela. I want you to do a pop remix. I want you to do a hip hop remix and a rock remix. He goes,
Wow.
okay, Kat. I know he's like, you've lost your mind. I'm like, listen, and I want you to make it stadium ready. And that's what made it so humorous, because I wanted to even sell it or give it to a major team, because it really is inspiring. We took about 6 months to do a whole bunch of remixes, so it was really humorous. And he did and you've got to go download the pop and rock. The hip hop I love, but it's down in the pocket. But the pop and the rock are just so much fun.
Okay, I've got it written down. I'm going to do that too.
Yeah,
because I love those kind of songs.
Oh, it'll get you excited. It's one of those songs that says,
Sweet. Okay, I just have one more question before we talk about where we can find you everywhere.
Okay.
So, the way that you talk about Ned, is there like a romantic thing going on with y'all?
No. I've had so many people ask me that. No.
We gotta know.
No, there's not. And what's really interesting is I'm single. What's really interesting is I haven't dated in a while. When it comes to Ned and I, it is the most awesome blessing to have the relationship I have with him, because I am also very, very close to his wife, Bobby. Bobby, if you're listening to this, honey, Bobby is one of those people in my life who has been like I know most people hear me talk about him and they realize he came into my world through my cousin Gardner. Gardner was a music producer, is a music producer, and very, very, he's the golden ear, like very few people. And I've got to give him that. And he's out in Los Angeles now. He said, Kat, I feel like I really want to send these songs to Ned. Do you mind if I do? And I said, well, it was back 2007. I said, well, okay, sure. Send them on. And it was that moment that we had a kinship. It was an understanding that he knew and understood that I was going to throw a whole bunch of hooks out there and a whole bunch of songs that were like Bruce Springsteen songs, where I'm going to do way, way, way too many words in one.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
He's like, Kat, we're going to need to reform this. I'm like, whatever we got to do, that's fine. But there was never a romantic moment with Ned. There was never that. It was a twin flame. It was really interesting. Ned and I, it's almost like we knew each other in a past life. It's like we're 11ers. We're 11-11ers. So we see 11-11 all the time. And he just happened to come into my world when it was transitioning and when it had fallen completely to shambles. And never, ever has that been. I mean, he'd probably be like, oh, my heavens, Kat's a crazy woman. But no, nothing romantic between Ned and I. I have the utmost respect for him, though. He is a rare bird, and I cannot wait to share his album. He has not shared it in a long piece of time because he's been so into helping other artists. But when you hear him, you've got to stay tuned, Pamela. You've got to watch my page, or I'm going to send it to you.
Yeah, I saw you talking about it, and you were almost crying. I can't wait to hear this.
Oh, you've got to hear it. It hit me gutturally. He's like, well, Kat, it's dated. And I'm like, dated? It's not dated. It's wonderful. It speaks to you. I promise you.
Aww.
It'll be that album that you sit in. I promise you're going to want to listen to it again and again and again. Because I have. It's not because I'm partial to Ned. It's because he really is that talented. Back in the day, he had a signed band in New York City. He has been performing for years. The blessing about him is that he has given so many unsigned artists a voice. And he has not taken it for himself as he's gone through the years. And I'm gonna help him release his album because he deserves it. Aww. He is an amazing man. And you're gonna love it. I promise you, Pamela.
Okay, I'm on the lookout. And it's so inspiring and amazing. I really have enjoyed my time talking to you, Kat. You're just such a joy and so great for your accomplishments. And so where can people find you and find your wonderful music?
To get on through life. And I've enjoyed talking to you too. And thank you, by the way, for what you do to be able to allow us to talk about our world. It's beyond the music to kind of the world around it. Thank you. I appreciate you.
You're so welcome. I'm just happy for the opportunity. I'm honored. Thank you.
So Facebook, Kat Beach. They'll see me under Kat Beach on Facebook and Instagram. You'll either see me under Kat Beach Music or Kat Beach. and I'm on YouTube everywhere. And I can say this: you will see me in a blue sparkling outfit. If you're looking for the visual, that's what.
Oh yes, I have
awesome.
seen that blue sparkling outfit too.
That was a fun one. That was a fun one to wear. I'm like, oh goodness, I'm gonna not breathe. Don't breathe. Sing. Don't breathe. Sing. Oh yeah.
That doesn't work too well,
Exactly. Spanx just weren't enough. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not really kidding.
I know.
But I'm also on iTunes and Amazon, so you can buy my music all over the place.
Okay. Great. Now, do you have a website?
Thank you. Yes, catbeach.net. Not
good.
com.
Catbeach.net.
I just wasn't willing to spend,
no joke,
$5,500 to buy myself back. I'm like, to get the .com. I'm like, wait a minute.
Oh man.
Wow.
Well, it's been such a pleasure, Cat Beach, and I'm so happy for you and your dreams are coming true and that you came on my Dreams Do Come True podcast. I'm just so excited for what the future holds, and I can't wait to hear more of your music.
Pamela, thank you. And I wish you all the best. Keep spreading all the good news, and all the dreams do come true, because they do come true.
Thank you so much, Kat. It was just such a pleasure getting to know you and to talking about your journey through music and your struggles that you overcame. We're just so happy that you won the Female Songwriter of the Year and Female Single of the Year, and that you are an overcomer. You have great things going for you, Kat. Can't wait to hear what the future holds. So get after it and keep those dreams coming true.